Commission meeting will come to order at 6:30. Secretary, please call roll.
Dennis Sobolski.
Here.
Tim Boyd.
Here.
Stuart Pop here. Sandy Groth.
Here.
Dan Callahan. Bill Aikes.
Here.
Ashley Kruger.
Here.
Thank you.
All here.
And do we have a motion to approve the agenda submitted tonight?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Pop to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And is there a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes, the Planning Commission minutes of March 18th.
Is there support? Okay, Commissioner Callahan, moved by Commissioner Pop and supported by Commissioner Callahan to,
I had some comments, I'm sorry.
oh, okay.
Let's see. On page 3, just a minor typo. Second paragraph, fourth sentence.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah.
It's the plans getting in the way of the mic. That's the problem.
Let's try that again. Okay, on page 3, second paragraph, fourth sentence down, the third word, indicted, I think is supposed to be indicated.
Oh, thank you.
And then, on page 7, item C, the master plan update, at the bottom of that, it says moved by Commissioner Boyd, supported, et cetera. We need to insert there, all ayes, motion passed.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's it?
Okay, so then,
I'm sorry, I have a comment too.
Okay.
Jacqueline is her first name, I don't remember her last name, but she is with Bradbury, and she requested clarification in the minutes because she referred to the 30-foot, Dennis, or Bill, I think you know more about this than I do, but you could speak to it. She was concerned about the fact that her request for a 30-foot,
yeah, board,
that it's not
Buffer.
in the minutes, and she's concerned that by it not being in the minutes, yes, somebody can watch a video, but because it's not in the minutes, it's not spelled out in a way that's indicative for someone to just look at the minutes and see that that was a written and agreed to request.
I don't believe that was part of the motion. No.
Well, I'm referring to,
I know, I sent it out to everybody.
yeah, just the fact that it was comments that she asked, she wants to see it in writing somewhere.
Well, I've been told that the video, the recorded part of the meeting is part of the official record, so that is in the record. It's just not reflected here.
Well, this is an issue that we have on the board as well, or we have had in the past. When you're dealing with someone who is specifying specific concerns, it's important that they have the teeth in writing to
Yeah.
validate concerns that are expressed, and not everybody's going to listen to the minutes or the meeting, but it's easy to take a look at minutes and get a good review, and it's not there, and I'm concerned about that because I'm concerned about protecting the implications behind these things.
Can you give me the reference again where it is? And then
It's not. We captured what Gary Landroche from Lag Development said and wanted.
so is it on page
articulately.
6? I want to see where in the minutes.
Bottom of page 5.
Bottom of page 5.
6.
Is this the 50 to 60 feet?
Yeah.
Or is it-
The 50 got captured, right, which is what he offered. I asked for 100
Right there.
previous meeting.
Look at the top of page, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Look at the top of page 6. He explained that they are extending that buffer to 60 feet from the original plan of 50 feet. Is that it?
What page? I didn't hear what.
Top of page 6.
Okay.
Second line.
Okay, oh, yeah.
Is that it, Sandy?
No, she's referring to the,
No.
Can you explain it better, Bill? Because I
No,
think you've talked to her.
I did talk to her. I wish she would have stayed because she just literally ducked out of here.
You've talked to them,
I've
yes.
talked to her, and I've talked to planning, and I've also talked to the supervisor. And it was not a condition of the motion. It was something that he said he wouldn't touch the first 30 feet, but it wasn't a part of the motion, and it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't a condition. And if we start putting in extra things, that leads to more liability on the part of the clock. So that is why the minutes are not supposed to be including everything. And I have spoken with many people about this.
And I understand that, however, I do believe that that is a planning commission discretion.
vote on it.
And that's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, perhaps we should defer on the minutes and seek
Until we can-
counsel from the attorney.
I like that idea.
Fine.
Okay,
That's
all right,
fair.
let's do that. Okay, so you withdraw your motion?
Okay,
and
I
you-
withdraw the
oh,
motion.
And you withdraw yours? Oh, you did?
I
You
did.
and-
I'll withdraw the
yeah,
motion.
yeah,
Agree,
and
but
so
it's
will
not
the
in here.
support. Okay,
That wasn't.
until the next meeting, so we can
Perfect,
get
and
it.
we can look into that.
Oh, okay. And Laura, will you contact the attorney, or should I contact you? Okay,
Who?
I mean,
All
I
right, we'll do
don't
that.
know how much he is doing for the township at this
Okay.
point.
I don't either.
So
That's why he'll respond to your call, okay?
okay,
Chairman Sobalski?
Yeah.
Staff can do that.
Okay.
Because we are in transition of attorneys
Okay.
right now, and I know who to reach out to.
oh, okay. And maybe we can get something in writing, so
Absolutely.
we can all see it and hear it right from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Okay. Next. Public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone here that wishes to speak on any non-agenda item. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on a non-agenda item? Okay, we'll move on. We have a public hearing for application 2588, the Adult Foster Care Home Special Land Use. And the planner will read the report.
Thank you, Chairman Sobalski. Commissioners, good evening. Liz Hart with McKenna. This is a application for a special land use, a proposed adult foster care home located on Ann Arbor Road, just east of I-275. The proposed use is going to have 12 bedrooms and on-site staff. Right now, the site does have an existing building, and they're reusing that building. I believe the current building was previously used as an office use, so this would be a change in use. There are no proposed changes to the actual site, some minor exterior changes to the building, but no modifications to the site, so it will stay as existing. And so the subject site's 58,900 square feet, and the building's 5,114 square feet. There will be regular staff changes, visitor trips, and service activities. The subject site is zoned OSARC, Office Service Ann Arbor Road Corridor District, where this use isn't listed specifically, but it does allow similar uses of office and service to be approved as a special land use through the Planning Commission, which is why this is the route we are going with this use.
Would this be a residential live-in facility?
Yes. Yes.
So that is actually quite different from an office use building.
Going through the special land use criteria. Criteria 1, the intensity and scale of the use in comparison to surrounding uses and conditions. So the subject site is zoned again OSARC, and the future land use classification keeps it as Ann Arbor Road Corridor Office. To the north is an existing car wash and restaurant, and that's also zoned Ann Arbor Road Corridor. To the south is single family zone, the R1, one family residential, and the future land use map does show this as residential medium density. To the west is the gas station and coffee shop, again zoned ARC Ann Arbor Road Corridor, and the future land use map also shows it as Ann Arbor Road Corridor Commercial. And then to the east, that's outside of the township, but there is existing residential to the east. So the proposed residential use will maintain a less intensive use than what's permitted by right. The surrounding properties to the south are residential in nature, and the proposed use, we believe, will function similarly to the residential living environment rather than a high turnover commercial use. All required setbacks are maintained on this property, and again, there are no major exterior building expansions or site redevelopment. In terms of consistency with the use with the master plan, really, it supports the goal of responsible reuse of existing buildings and diversification of housing and supportive residential options for adults who benefit from care, supervision, and safe living arrangements. And again, the subject site is designated as Ann Arbor Road Corridor Office on the future land use map, and that does not propose a conflict with this designation. Instead, it does provide a less intense use. Impact of the use to natural features. Again, the site does have an existing building and does feature several existing mature trees, but there will be no disturbance to any of the existing natural features beyond normal property maintenance. Criteria 2, the use is designed, located, proposed to be operated, so the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. We don't anticipate the proposed use, we anticipate the proposed use can be successfully operated in support of the public health and safety and welfare. It will be added, criteria 3 requires it to be adequately served by public services and facilities. As this is an existing building and they have existing connections to the services, we don't anticipate it to exceed what's already existing. We should operate within typical service levels. Criteria 4 regarding vehicular circulation is proposed to be the best interest of the public health, safety, and welfare in relationship to egress and ingress of the site. So right now the site has one driveway that allows ingress and egress to the site. That's off of Ann Arbor Road. And we do believe, as how the use has been explained to us, the residents, there's no mobility from them in terms of leaving the site, so they won't have cars there. There'll be limited visitors, and the only real on and off going of the site will be the on-site workers. There's 24-hour shifts, so they'll be shifting between them. But otherwise, we don't expect like traffic circulation on the site to be as intensive as a different use, like a commercial use. The parking lot does have room for 23 vehicles, and that does exceed the parking requirement for the adult foster care home requirements. And we did find that the parking lot is adequately landscaped from the public right-of-way. Criteria 5, the location, use, and assembly of persons in connection with the proposed use will not be hazardous to the planning unit in which the use is located or hazardous to a specific use or life of property within the planning unit. So the applicant has stated that there will not be any outdoor assembly or high-intensity commercial activity or hazardous materials that would increase potential risk to the neighboring properties. So we do expect it to remain consistent with the existing character of the area as it exists today. I will say, and the report goes into this in criteria 6, but they are required to have an outdoor space, kind of similar to our childcare requirements. It's not as extensive as the 500 square feet per child, but they were required, I believe it was like a 5,000 square foot minimum, and they are like the back area where that lawn area to the rear, that's where it's being proposed, and that's about 6,000 square feet. So they do meet that. So criteria 6, the proposed site layout is in compliance with the general site development standards of Article 29. the use and associated activities on the property are so located as to not hinder the projected development of adjacent properties or impair the existing use of adjacent lands. Again, this site is already existing, the use is just changing. How the site lays out right now is there is existing fencing up against both, well, to the south, where the existing residential is. To the south, there is a fence there right now. To the east, where that's not the township and there is existing residential there, there's actually quite a big buffer of existing trees. I'm not sure if there is a fence along there, but it does look thick enough as a natural barrier between those two uses. And along Ann Arbor Road, there is I think it's like a 4-foot iron height fencing along there. And we asked the applicant to expand that specifically along the outdoor space area, just so there is an actual visual barrier in case residents of this building do go outside. They know that that's where it stops and they're not just going onto the sidewalk, vice versa with the public walking. They know there's a barrier and that's not something that they can just walk on. And then, we did find that it does meet the parking, the lighting. Any signage will require a new permit, sufficient landscaping, and then we just talked about fencing and the means of buffering. But so we do find that it is capable of complying with the development requirements of the adult care facility. Again, we just recommend that maybe not fencing. As I talked with the applicant, it appears that that fencing that's existing might be the township's fencing. And so there's some existing shrubbage on their property that we talked about, maybe just expanding that shrubbery along the fence, just creating that, again, that visual barrier so that they know this is separated from the public. So in conclusion, we are recommending the Planning Commission grant special land use approval for the adult foster care home at 39475 Ann Arbor Road, based on the 5 findings of facts listed in the staff report with 3 conditions. 1, the approval of the sign plan being addressed that addresses all planning requirements, so a separate permit. The revision of the tax identification number on the site plan, it appears to be wrong. We want to make sure that's correct on the final stamp plans. And then number 3, provision of fencing or shrubbery would be the new condition for the outdoor recreation area. That's my report. I'm happy to take questions. There was no engineering review for this or fire review, and the applicant is here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the applicant here? Yes. Okay. Come up.
Chairman Sobalski, I do just want to note, there was 1 public comment received via
Yes.
email that is in your packet.
Is in our packet. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So do you want to talk a little bit about what your plan is and operation?
Yes. So our plan is to convert the office usage to a 12-bed assisted living. So like she said, there will be 24/7 staff. As far as the traffic, there'll be way less traffic. Actually, we have another who's running basically the day-to-day. She's here as well. She's a nurse practitioner, which is also the owner. We are not having transportation on the site, so family will come and visit the Lovans probably once a week, maybe once a month, depend. Unfortunately, as far as services for them, they will have visiting physician, they will have nurses, and food as well on the side.
Do you know about how many staff will be on a shift?
Simona, do you want to come here and answer that? Sure.
Hi.
You need to speak in the mic.
For 12 residents, we're anticipating 4 during the day, morning care to assist with the daily cares, which is mainly in the morning, and typically 3 or 2 in the evening on a day-to-day basis, and then two during the night to be able to assist, if there's a needed assistance throughout the night. There is 24-hour supervision.
It's difficult, and I'm sitting here, it's difficult for me to hear you, so you need
I
to speak better
apologize.
into the mic, please.
A good staffing pattern would be 3 or 4 in the morning to assist with the morning care. We are currently running a 6-bed licensed residential home, and going on that staffing pattern, we're anticipating 3 or 4 staff in the morning, 3 or 2 in the afternoon, and then 2 at night to assist with any night needs for any resident that, wakes up in the middle of the night.
And the letter, I'm not sure if you saw a copy of the letter from the adjoining resident. What is the condition of the adults there? I mean, he was concerned about, are they violent in any way or subject to wandering off or that kind of?
The residents that we're currently taking care of and we're anticipating it would be elderly or adult residents that need supervision beyond independent living. So just assisted living, that need 24-hour supervision, assistance with your meals, just ADLs, getting bathed in the morning, that can no longer live in their home or shouldn't live in their home isolated, can be in a safe environment and have interactions with other residents. No violent behaviors. We do not admit community mental health. We're not licensed with community mental health, so it'll be an assisted living for residents that can no longer live in an independent kind of environment.
So is it a secured building? Can they leave the building or?
Yes.
Excuse me. My name's Joe Hammond, and I'm the contractor. These exits are all protected in one way or another. Usually it's a delayed egress, and it's approved by the state. So if somebody does come and push the door, it takes 15 seconds at a minimum, usually 30, before the door will unlatch. If it's pushed too hard and it does unlatch, there's an alarm that goes off. So all the doors will be protected.
So we can presume or assume that you're following all the state regulations for this type of operation?
It is licensed, yes.
Oh, okay.
Also, I want to mention, there will be 65 and over age who live in that facility.
Okay.
No younger than that.
And can you talk a little bit about the outdoor recreation area? What would be contained in there? How would it be fenced or screened?
Like Liz said, on an Arbor Road corridor, which the township already have the fence, so we can continue with the boxes. It's a barrier, basically, you cannot go on it. And then on the south side, we have 6 feet concrete fence. On Tavistock Road, which it's pretty far from the building, so it's already sidewalk, and I don't know if we can do any barrier there, but as far as sitting area outside, on the southeast side of the building, we already have a designated area where they can stay in the shade and enjoy the beautiful day.
So there is some shading in that area?
Oh, yes, we have mature trees in the back, the east side where Livonia City starts. It's pretty thick there. And then on the south side of the property, which is Tavistock Road, there we have very mature trees there.
Because I know in the past, some of the residents potentially could be on medication that leads them to be sun sensitive, so we would want to protect them from that.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. We have plenty of shade.
Okay. Questions from the commission?
So
I-
is it,
Go ahead.
is it more of a senior center then, kind of?
It's, the state called it adult foster care home. It's 65 and over.
Yeah.
Basically, like Simona said, that seniors that cannot stay home alone,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
need
okay.
they need someone to manage their medication.
Yeah.
They need help with the bathing. They need help with. They can't really walk and go on the street and wander.
Yeah.
So they'll be, sitting in the wheelchairs or chairs or.
So okay. So it's like a small senior center then?
Correct.
Effectively. And it's private pay, so you're gonna market, I mean,
Correct.
every
It's-
resident pays
Correct,
their
it's
own?
all private pay.
Okay, okay.
Are these seniors with physical disabilities? Are they or are they mental?
The majority is physical disability. Typically assisted living, if anyone reaches a point beyond their independent living where they have their own apartment and physically they're no longer able to walk, they're not able to bathe themselves, safety of medication management comes into play. So that's where the assisted living part comes in, is we're able to do the 24-hour supervision. We do the medication management. We train the staff in medication management to know how to pass medication, and they're trained in that. And I myself also do the training as a nurse practitioner. And then, so we work with the families. They're the ultimate decision makers, but we assist the families in taking care of their loved ones. So we become their liaison. And then they also have the physicians that come visit within the home so that they're able to, get the care that they need without having to leave the home or be alone in an environment where they're not safe, they're not falling. We assist them to the bathroom, all those daily cares that they need. If they have a little bit of dementia, then we're able to have some reminders as far as, even brushing their teeth and, assisting them with different types of meal consistencies based on what the doctor orders. So we're able to provide that for them.
We also, she already has 6 beds, so this will be 12 beds for her. But she's already owning one and doing one. And also we have a 20-bed on Plymouth Road, which we just finished, built with.
Where are the existing 6 beds?
On Alloway Street, which is at the corner of Plymouth Road and Newburgh, right behind Heinz Drive. And the
Is
other,
it Audubon?
Alois.
Okay.
And then the other one's just about a mile down the street on Eccles and Plymouth Road.
I have a few questions. Because this is a single access point, I understand that this intensity is supposed to be less than a commercial office building, but I want to understand your operations a little bit more. For example, are you going to be preparing food on site, or will there be deliveries? You're going to have janitorial service providers coming in and out, linen service providers coming in and out. Can you just explain what type of traffic will be attributed to this site beyond staff and visitors?
So we do prepare our own meals, and we are also cross-trained with our staff to be able to assess nutritional intake of the residents. So the meals we'll do ourselves. Also, the linen, we do laundry daily, so there is no external laundry service. And also the housekeeping as well, is we do ourselves with the staff. So there is no external traffic coming into the home. That's all within the home itself.
Okay, and then do you have like regular supply deliveries or anything like that? Can you explain just want to understand the flow of traffic in and out of the site a little bit more?
Typically, so I would manage it, and as far as deliveries, food, shopping, groceries, to be able to maintain the food. And then as far as anything else, the initial plan is to furnish the building, and beyond that would be regular deliveries of briefs, wipes, things that you would need to maintain and be able to care for the elderly. But aside from that, we don't anticipate any regular major deliveries, as if it would be in a home, that you would live at home. Let's say you would have, a larger family, and you would just need regular supplies to maintain the care.
Okay, great. I do think this is a great service you're providing. I think there's a need for this type of service, so I commend you for doing that. Not everyone can do that type of work, so thank you. One other question is, I know that we had at least one public comment on the use, and because this abuts residential housing, I just would like you to explain kind of what you anticipate the impact on the residential neighborhood, if any, with this use, if approved.
So we completely screen, like he said, from their residential. We have probably 20+ people driving into the parking lot and leaving every day. I believe there will be less traffic than what we have now. And as far as like delivery, we have delivery to the building, a UPS or FedEx or Amazon, but that's not daily. Same thing. So as far as food and everything that I cook, it's 12 residents, so it's pretty much having a large family. It's not a lot of food, it's not a lot of traffic. The reason we choose to do it this way, it's more feels, if you feel like you're home, you're not like in a facility. So it's a small setting, the living room or your room is different than a 40-bed assisted living. And as far as impacting the neighborhood, I don't think it's going to create traffic or impact, and they're not going to go out and wander and all that.
Okay. Are you planning to make any changes to the building itself on the exterior, like lighting or anything that could impact the neighborhood?
We have lights pretty much every corner of that parking lot, so it's very, very bright.
I think that might be one of the concerns of if it's too bright at
Oh, we
night,
don't-
like that's,
We don't have it on actually now. Like I have probably 2 lights on. If we turn them all on, back in the day it used to be a bank, so that was like very bright. So we have 2 lights on, it's not bright.
are you intending to have more lighting on the site?
Unless it's required in what we have, but if we turned all the lights on, it would be like a soccer or football field.
Okay. And then you mentioned an alarm on the doors. If they open, is that something that could be heard in the neighboring?
No, everything is internal.
It's internal,
And
okay.
it's not overly loud, it's just to alarm the
You have to
staff.
speak into the
I
microphone,
apologize.
please.
It's not loud like a fire alarm when we do the fire drills. It's just to alarm the staff to know there might be a potential resident or someone trying to exit and just to attract their attention. We also have alarms in a small home as well, so it's non-disturbing at all.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Perhaps I didn't hear it earlier, I was having a hard time hearing, but can you tell us what your past experience is in running this type of enterprise?
Oh, yes, of course. Our current home is about 4 years old, and the one thing that's allowed me to say, let me go ahead and expand, is the families tell us on a daily basis that they're finally able to breathe. You know, the residents move into our home, they've either lived by themselves in an apartment or in a home, they're no longer to care for themselves. We come into our home, they're able to find friends, they're able to communicate with someone in a smaller setting without feeling lost in a bigger place. And then now they're getting cared for. We do all the morning care, all the daily, everyday care, incontinence care, feeding their meals. You know, if they tell me their favorite food is something, I can go put it on the grocery list and buy it for them, make sure they have their favorite drinks in the pantry. And so our experience has been that the families, they say, I wish I would have known this concept before. I wish there were other options where I can live with my loved one. And then they can come and visit with them. They have their own private rooms, but then they also have the living room where they can come out and visit with their friends, but they still have that private space available to them as well. And then we're just literally down the hall. If someone, needs some help, we're there. And so in that regards has been an amazing impact. And most families, I have not heard one family say that, I can finally go on vacation and know that mom and dad are taken care of. And I'm not worried about them falling somewhere and no one's hearing them, or the call light going off for, 40 minutes and no one's going down, because we're a little bit smaller. We're able to get there quicker. So that's just been our experience. And running a little bit smaller, we're able to be a little more personal, feel a little more homey, and not feel so distant, And that's what I'm being told on a regular basis. What kind of keeps me going about this.
Yeah.
So you will actually have 12 separate units, one room, I would assume, with seating and television and sleeping. And then you will have an area for feeding, for people to eat, like a meal area, and a kitchen, wherever you're going to prepare. And then you will have a day room where they can watch TV or play bingo or whatever they do. And then maybe like an activities room,
Yes.
puzzles. Clearly I know something about this.
Yes.
And that type of activity.
Yeah, we do have
That's
activity
the intent.
coordinators that come twice or 3 times a week, or they can daily, it all depends, to help engage, especially with residents, especially if they've lived alone. They engage in these activities, they engage with other residents at their wish, you know, it's available to them, but yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah, my question is there demand for this right now? Do you have a wait list of people and families that want to come in that will fill this up?
There is a demand, yes. The projection, especially with the elderly at this point, is about 15 to 20 years, because of that the elder, you know, we're all aging at different levels, but there is an influx in the next 15 to 20 years, and I hope to be able to myself have this available to me when I get there. But at the moment, yes. There's a lot of bigger facilities, which is great for when you're active, independent, and you're at that level where you can be independent. But as we decline and we need that extra help, we find that smaller environments, 6, 12, even 21 is like your perfect area where you can staff appropriately and not have the staffing challenges that a lot of bigger facilities are having. Because also our overhead is not as big as theirs too, so we can do that personalized care. So yeah, the market is there.
Okay. Second question, the staffing. If you have 2 people in the afternoon and 2 people at night, when people go on vacations, as they do you have backfill help that can come in, so it's not a one-man band?
Oh,
12
yes.
residents?
So you hire your own staff, but there's also staffing agencies for emergencies where you can, post your shifts, call shifts. We also have 2 other homes in our direct family that are actively functioning, one for about 12 years and one about 7. And so within my family alone, have the resources that have been active 6-person beds running for longer times, that we can tap into those resources as well. Because this is definitely a concern that I had to be able to know that I can provide the care and have the backup to make sure that the residents are taken care of. And I personally am involved in that as well. I'm not just managing, but doing personal hands-on care.
Okay. Third and last question I have is on the building mechanically. We're taking out a lot of load-bearing walls, but you're also adding some, the CA, the CAD, you're not worried about the roof and snow and whatnot on the foundation? And
No, that's a completely engineered drawing.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to double check.
I want to go back to your question earlier about occupancy. We did the facility on Plymouth.
You have to go to the mic so we
I
can
thought it
hear
was
you
loud
better.
enough. We did the facility on Plymouth Road, just east of Eccles. That's a 20-bed facility that Mr. Brosdow owns. And from May of last year, when we occupied it, it's 100% right now occupancy in that facility. So there is a need.
Okay. I don't have any other questions on site tenants.
So I have a question. So this operation is similar to the one that's on Plymouth Road in Eccles?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember.
That's a 20-bed AFC. That's a 20-bed. That's considered a large adult foster care because of the quantity of beds.
Yeah, I remember, I believe it was you came and you had some, I believe some of the families of the residents at another facility that were very pleased with the service that was being provided.
Yes.
Okay, anyone else? All right, discussion,
Public hearing?
motion?
You have a public
Yeah, we're
hearing?
going to, but before I open that up.
Okay.
Okay.
So the purpose tonight is to potentially schedule a public hearing?
Right, we're going to do the public hearing now.
Oh,
If
okay.
you're all set with,
Okay.
at this point. Okay. So we'll open the public hearing at 7:08. We have to have a motion for that. So who wishes to?
Mr. Chair, I move we open the public hearing at 7:08 PM.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Pop to open the public hearing at 7:08. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak to this application? Okay, then hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing at 7:08?
Dennis, we do have one. You need to
Oh,
come up
yes,
here,
come on up.
Yes, I did. Sorry. Yes. Oh, maybe a pen. Sorry.
Do I need to, so my name's Elizabeth Galt. I live right next door to the
You
facility.
need to be close to the microphone.
Thank you.
Because we're not hearing you.
Thank you. I live right next door to the facility. So my primary concern is the outdoor activity spaces, because I do think it's a great proposal for that space. But I don't know how mobile these patients are going to be, but they will want to be outside. And it is a very big open area that has one area of trees for shade. And then the township fencing is only 3.5 feet tall, and it does not cover the entire back area. It's in sections and has little decorative things between it. So it is not sufficient for keeping them off the sidewalks. So that has to be looked at a little bit closer and made safe for them. I don't have a problem with them being escorted outside of the area, but they would need to have proper care when they are outside of that area. But if they are within that area, right now, they would not be safe. And including in that, the space between Plymouth and Livonia is wild. Trees, bushes, thorns, garbage. They need not to be able to get into that space. So that has to be looked at also. That's my concerns.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 7:11. Is there a motion to close it?
Mr. Chair, I move we close the public hearing at 7:11 PM.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Graff to close the public hearing at 7:11. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Do you care to respond to that last concern?
Sure. As far as the sitting area outside, they will not be alone. They will be supervised. And majority, they won't be able to walk. They're sitting on the wheelchairs or on the chairs. So we help them on a wheelchair, transfer them outside on a sitting area. As far as the thick area, where it's part of Livonia, I can't even walk in there. It's true, it's wild there. You can't even fit in there. The Ann Arbor Road corridor, where the fence section are, it's part of the city. If we continue to do anything else, we're gonna change the design. It's not gonna look the same. But the bushes, they're already there, the boxes. We can continue with those, and we can create a 4-foot barrier, easy. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to ask that question slightly differently. It sounds like there's gaps in the fencing that's 3.5 feet tall. Is there a plan to fill those gaps in so it's one continuous perimeter? Or is a plan to leave the gaps that are there presently in place?
The gaps between the fences, the city already has bushes. So we can continue, there's a good probably 30 feet that's nothing there. We can continue with that and close that gap.
Let me ask the question. So Liz, that's part of the Ann Arbor Road corridor that the DDA is maintaining?
Yes, yes.
So can an applicant plant more bushes, or does that have to be handled by the DDA?
He can plant more bushes on his property. If we wanted that fencing extended, I believe we'd have to work with the DDA, and he would have to put in place what's already there to match it and everything. That's why we suggested shrubbery, but you guys can recommend the fencing to be extended along there. I don't know why it's not, why there are sections that just aren't filled in. I don't know why.
If we have bushes and shrubs that act as a barrier, right, in some of the locations and the gaps, right, it would seem to be consistent with what the plan is to fill in the 30 feet or so. If that's a condition the developer's willing to do, then great.
It's not intended to be along that corridor, because it's part of that plan of that corridor. It's not intended to be providing a barrier for anything. And I drove by it, but I didn't look at it that carefully. Right. But what they do in some of those spaces, there's daylilies that come up. So that might be a daylily bed in there. I'd have to look at it. You know, if the concern is a resident, varying the residents so they don't go out into traffic or whatever, I think the chances are pretty slim because they are in wheelchairs and they're being monitored, but, I mean, it's up to the commission. And I think there'd have to be some coordination, most likely with the DDA, wouldn't you think so, Liz? Do you think there'd have to be some kind of coordination with the DDA if they were going to plan something?
Yes. Yeah.
So we could recommend that.
Not if it's on his property, I don't believe
if it's
so,
on
but I
his-
do recommend it matching whatever exists.
Okay, yes, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you do recommend what, Liz?
That it matches what, if
What's
we're
there,
doing
the plan.
shrubbery, it needs to match what's existing.
The planting plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sandy?
I just want to be clear because I have personally experienced this. You don't have, in order for someone to go into an assisted living facility, they do not have to be wheelchair bound. You're not going to have rules that say you must be wheelchair bound in order to live here, is that correct? So we can have mobile people living in this facility. I don't want to confuse the issue with, oh, it's not a problem because most of them will be in wheelchairs because you're still going to have people who are able to walk and get around and use walkers and that type of thing. So I just want to make it clear that this is not so restrictive that it's just going to be wheelchair bound people. Okay.
Well, better safe than sorry.
Yes.
All right. Any other concerns? Well, what's your pleasure on granting the special land use? Do the recommendations, we can adopt the recommendations as a provision for the special land use and also add language for exploration with the DDA to plan anything that would be on, not on their property. They can do what they want on their property, but not anything that would impact on the DDA plantings.
I'm not in favor of granting the special land use, so I'm not going to make a motion. That's left to the rest of you to do.
Do you want to share those reasons for us now? Maybe that enlighten people that,
We looked at the potential for allowing a daycare, childcare center, not on our property, but in the city of Plymouth in the Ann Arbor Road corridor. I believe the corridor exists for a reason and a specific purpose, and I don't agree with mixing any type of residential within that district.
okay? Further discussion or thoughts?
Liz, what other types of businesses could go into this site with the existing zoning, particularly businesses that would be much more intense impact on the nearby community?
Well, it is office service, so it would be more towards office. Let's pull it up.
So it could be another bank, is that correct?
So, yeah, I believe so. Medical, dental offices, administrative offices, real estate, schools for arts and crafts, mortuaries, a caretaker's residence, public schools, accessory structures, special land uses, a bank and financial institution, commercial, medical, dental laboratories, veterinary office, municipal facilities, nursing and convalescent homes, commercial child care center, and then charter and private schools, a hospital that do not meet the definition of large-scale institutional uses. And it also has a minimum 10 acres, so that might be hard to do on Ann Arbor Road. Massage therapy, public utilities.
It strikes me that this particular application would be a very low-impact piece of business on this site, and other opportunities could come in that would be much more intense to the neighborhood. So that makes me inclined to want to give this favorable view.
Sandy, you're thinking it should be more like commercial? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm just not in favor of mixing residential. I'm just not, we have an Ann Arbor Road corridor for a reason. I personally am not in favor of making any portion of the Ann Arbor Road corridor consistent with residential. That's just my personal opinion about that.
Yeah.
It's nothing against you and what you're doing, and what you're doing is awesome. I just don't believe it belongs in the Ann Arbor Road corridor district. But I am only just one person, so.
Liz, how long has this building been waiting for a reuse? Months, years?
I'm not sure. Do you know, Alan?
It's about probably a couple months since we're talking. Yes.
So it's been a short period of time, not long, okay.
We do, and also we have some residential on Ann Arbor Road, the townhouses.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
I recommend the planning commission grant special land use approval for the adult foster care small group.
we
home.
don't recommend it, we are the
Oh,
decider.
okay. Recommend we approve the special land use for adult foster care, small group home at 39475 Ann Arbor Road, based upon compliance with the above stated land use criteria, including but not limited to the 5 items that are listed below the planner's recommendation, along with a request that planning explore the possibility of additional landscaping along the front of the property, either on the Ann Arbor Road corridor property or on the owner's property, to create more of a natural barrier between the building and the road.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Kruger to grant special land use to application 2588, subject to set conditions. All in favor, well, let's do a roll call. Could you take a roll call?
I will.
Okay,
Dennis,
yes.
Tim,
Yes,
Stuart, yes. Sandy,
No.
Dan,
Yes.
Bill,
I'm a yes.
and Ashley.
Yes.
Okay, so it's
Good luck and congratulations.
6-1.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Next is application 2587, the Ryan Center, here for a tentative site plan approval. And Ms. Hart, your report?
Thank you, Chairman Sobalski. Liz Hart with McKenna. This is a tentative site plan review for the Rayon Center. They are looking for approval of a parking lot extension and new access drive. The existing site holds a religious institution, a 16,180 square foot institution on a mostly developed 12-acre parcel along 5 Mile Road. This project right now is their first phase of their project, the expansion of the parking lot. And the reason why they're doing it in phases is this first phase, and if you've been out there and noticed, a lot of trees are gone. They came to us first, they got a tree survey permit, and the reason they needed to do this is there's a drain right there, and they needed to get eagle permits to be able to do the parking lot and the access road. So that's why they went through the tree removal first, and then they're coming through site plan. So we did review the tree survey 2 different times, essentially. So the property is zoned IND Industrial District, where the existing religious institution was approved in 2014 as a special land use. So in terms of site design, again, the site is already designed, the existing building, you can see on the screen, in the parking. That's all existing, and then the new parking lot will be just to the east of the building right here. And mostly it's for just more people are coming, they need more parking. That's why they decided to do this, and this was the next spot on their land. Site appearance and coordination. Again, the site's located on 5 Mile. There is adequate setback proposed to minimize the visual and physical disruption of the parking lot to the surrounding area. It's an additional 34,525 square feet of the site to be covered in impervious service. So that does bring the site up to about 22.5% from the previous 15%. Now, the industrial district does not have a standard for impervious surface. However, we continue to recommend that 50% stay closer or under to 50%, which is the maximum lot coverage allowed in the TAR and OR districts. And this is achieved on this site. Preservation of site features. There is one regulated wetland on site. It's on your plans as wetland A. It's about 0.15 acres. And then wetland delineations have been flagged, but it's not expected that the wetland will be impacted from the parking lot. There's no infrastructure located near it. And then a tree survey and inventory was provided on sheet C1.2, which does provide the type, size, and conditions of all trees provided. And then the landscape plan on sheet L1 indicates the removal of 42 non-heritage trees and 4 heritage trees. From staff's calculations, that came out to 180 inches DBH to be replaced. And the landscape plan dated March 4th, 2026, it's actually showing about 6 inches less than that. So we're requesting that the applicant recheck their calculations and let's just make sure that that's all correct and we're getting the right amount of DBH in return of what's being removed. Otherwise, they do meet what is required for tree replacement. Impact on public services. The township engineer is recommending approval of tentative site plan with some items to be addressed before the site plan approval. You have a review letter enclosed in your packet dated January 22nd, 2026, as well as one from the fire marshal dated back in January 2026. And our township engineer is here and they will take you through that letter, but we do not expect any impact on public services. Vehicular access and circulation. So right now there's access from Pilot Drive, and so they're adding another access along 5 Mile. And this parking lot will connect into the existing one. So there is good internal circulation for access between both parking lots and the site where the building is. And again, the township engineer has approved the tentative site plan with items to be addressed. Pedestrian access and circulation. The current existing conditions do comply with pedestrian infrastructure around the building. The parking lot expansion, we do believe it should be enhanced for safety of the public. So we're requiring the applicant to put in pedestrian crossing hatching in the parking aisles that lead to entrances or the walkways. And we actually found a pretty good example in the township. Plymouth Township Baptist Church has some pretty nice pedestrian hatchings, and we recommend that they take a look at that and possibly follow their example. Barrier-free spaces are required to meet or needed to be located near entries and walkways where a curb exists between the parking lot surface and a sidewalk surface with an inclined approach or curb cut. So right now they're proposing 5 new barrier-free spaces on the existing parking lot site on the north side facing 5 Mile Road. And these don't actually currently meet the minimum design standards. They don't have access to walkways that lead to the building entries, so they will have to revise that. And if you look at the previous site plan versus what's now, you can see they are doing some additional work, like fixing the drive aisle and removing some parking spaces over in this area. So there's just some new configuration that needs to happen with the final site plan. Emergency access and vulnerability to hazards. Again, you have the review letter from the Township Fire Marshal, and we don't expect any issues with emergency access, and there are no hazards being proposed to be used on the site. Landscaping, screening, and buffering. So there is a 10-foot buffer required along 5 Mile Road. And this increases when the depth of the parking or vehicular use area is a certain amount. And for this, it's 180 feet, so that requires that buffer to be bumped up to 20 feet, which they are providing. And then they're required to have a combination of deciduous trees, flowering trees, and shrubs to adequately screen. The landscape plan shows 27 shrubs are proposed within the buffer, and then additional deciduous and ornamental trees are also located in this area. However, some of these trees are credited towards the tree replacement, some are credited towards the parking lot landscaping requirement, and then some are for the street tree requirements, rather than specifically all just towards the buffer. And the Planning Commission may approve an alternative landscape design that meets the intent of this ordinance. So in this case, although all plantings within the buffer are counted towards the screening requirement, we do find that the landscaping plan is meeting the intent of the ordinance. They're meeting the intent of the buffering. There's limited space on site to put on some of these new replacement trees and street trees and parking lot trees. So we do still see the intent of the landscape ordinance being met with what they're proposing, and we do recommend the Planning Commission allow this, with the addition that the proposed shrubs, which are Kodiak orange, deer villa, which are deciduous, they're not going to provide an effective year-round screening, so we just, with consistent screening of what we've required in the past, we recommend evergreen shrubs to be incorporated instead of deciduous shrubs. Parking and loading. Churches, temples, and auditoriums are required to have 1 parking space per 3 seats or 1 parking space per 6 feet of benches. And the total required parking space for this site is 121 spaces and 7 required barrier-free spaces. They're proposing a total of 207 spaces with 9 barrier-free spaces. So there's a little summary in here, but overall, they're adding a total of 86 additional parking spaces. Building design and architecture, there are no plans to do any additions or expand the building footprint, so the building is remaining as is. Exterior lighting, the photometric plan currently does not comply with the minimum lighting intensity requirements at the property or the street right-of-way. So the applicant needs to reduce that lighting. I believe it's over the property line of 0.5. So at the property line, it can only be 0.5 foot candles. I believe it's showing at 0.6 right now. So they'll just need to reduce that lighting. And then light poles have a maximum height of 25 feet in the industrial district. It's just from how they're measuring it. It needs to be measured from grade to the top of the fixture. That's not how they're measuring it. So it does appear they're over that 25 feet. So that'll either need to be reduced or a new measurement will be needed to be given. Waste enclosure is not being proposed to change, so that will remain. And then no additional signage have been shown on the site plan, but if additional signage or new signage, they would have to get a sign permit through the building department. So planning is recommending the Planning Commission grant tentative site plan approval for application 2587, Rayon Center site plan on 5 Mile, as presented with the condition of all engineering items be addressed prior to final stamp, and the 6 listed conditions in the staff report that I did go over with you. And that is our report. I'm happy to take any questions, and the applicant is here as well as the township engineer. Thank you.
Thank you. And the engineering report?
Good evening, Commissioners. We have received the site plan submittal for the Ryan Center parking lot expansion, prepared by Getaway Engineering and Surveying. We just have a few comments on this application. As Liz noted, we did a tree removal review back in July of last year, where we allowed for some tree removals. And that was for them to complete their tree survey and to be able to complete the design of the proposed culvert extension. The proposed work is located within the branch of Tonkish Creek, which is a regulated wetland. The creek is regulated pursuant to Part 301, Inland Lakes and Streams of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. So approval from Eagle will be required for the proposed parking lot and culvert extension. They are proposing to collect the stormwater by a single storm sewer collection system and discharge to an existing detention basin just southeast of their site. The original detention system for the Ryan Center and Webasto side but was designed for 13.53 acres of the sites combined. Based on the original engineering plans for the entire parcels, the existing detention basins provided volume exceeds the required volume. So we believe that there was enough capacity in the pond for the proposed development, that is 0.86 acres. A current review and approval from Wayne County will be required to confirm that no on-site detention or pretreatment or upgrades to the existing detention basin will be required. It shall be noted that this is just for the 0.86 acre parking lot extension. If they're wanting to do any other work, it will most likely require other storm detention systems or upgrades. Regarding the access, it will be provided off 5 Mile Road, so they will have to get approval from the county. And I did see that they provide a circulation plan and maneuverability plan. We just are asking that they clearly indicate the tire and overhang vehicle paths. Other than that, engineering is recommending approval of the tentative site plan, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And the applicant is here? Do you have a presentation or comment? Yeah, you have to come up by the mic.
My name is Mohammed Usman, and I have been involved in this project right from the beginning, about now 11, 12 years. So this request is to add parking spot as I think about 80 parking spot. We have built this center in a location where there is no street parking, and especially on Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, when there are community event in our gym, the parking spot, we don't have parking spot, there is double parking, and we are facing that parking difficulty. At the same time, the pilot drive is heavy trucking traffic on pilot drive, and especially our prayer service, which is 11 o'clock in this summer, and about 5 o'clock in the morning, there is very difficult driving conditions because we are sharing the access to the center from pilot drive. So this will create a safer ingress to our facility and also divide the traffic that is coming into our center from 2 locations. So we did do a traffic count and survey through a professional company that Wayne County recommended. So we are about to get our permit to get access from 5 Mile, and we are very actively working with the Eagle to get a small project, which is 100 feet covering of the culvert. It's a C culvert that will be put in. We propose one design, and that with the modification we have submitted a second design. And we are very hopeful that within 1-2 months we will get approval from Eagle to cover about 100 feet. And also we are very close to getting approval to access from 5 Mile Road. So the traffic survey and everything is in favor. I will take the questions and answer whatever the board want to ask the question.
Okay, thanks.
By profession, I'm an engineer. I'm a civil engineer, mechanical. I worked with Bill at Ford 28 years. We worked together. I know him from Ford. I took off after 28 years working at Ford. I work for Stryker now. We're a volunteer-based organization. I design devices for cranial and spine surgeries. I've been doing that for 7 years now.
Good.
After automotive, into medical.
Okay. I have a questions for Liz. So currently, if I understand this right, so they're required to have 121 spaces for parking based on okay, but they're going to end up with 207. It seems like over parking to me. So I want to make sure I had that right. So why are you increasing it so much from, you're only required to have 121, now you're going up to 207, and we've been having discussions about being over parked at various sites. So is this in anticipation of the expansion of the current building, or what's causing that?
No. There are 4 days in a week. The traffic, the parking requirement is higher. So when we have gathering in our gym, so there are many, there is some weddings and other things that happens in the community. So they take about 100 parking spot. Then the prayer service is going on at the same time, because one of the prayer service is at sunset, and one at which is about nowadays it is 10 o'clock. So now there are too many people, and there's no street parking. Community has grown. There are tremendous, very large number of people are moving into Plymouth and that corridor of Northville due to this center. So, and that Muslim community in this area is growing, and this is the only center for them. So we are seeing that increase. For the prayer, we don't have any difficulty for people standing for the prayer, but the difficulty is on the parking as people are.
Okay, so it's multiple uses in that building that's causing that need?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Basketball, this gym is a multi-purpose gym. There's a tournament that happens in the community, wedding, birthdays, graduation, and all that. And it happens at the same time, 2 or 3 events going on at the same time.
And I see you're planning a soccer field sometime in the future, so I'm sure that will also increase the parking needs.
Yes.
Okay. Questions?
My first question is, the planning team reviewed this twice before it got to the planning commission, right, which is good. And I see the 87 spots are the paved area that they do need for overflow and to resolve a safety condition with trucks going on Pilot Avenue. So where it's gray, I was okay with, but I was very disappointed when I went and toured the site back on March 29th to see what was a beautiful forest of sugar maples and black walnut trees perfect hardwood trees that have been decimated, right? And it seems like from a process standpoint, we're out of order, right? So I'm disappointed that we get to comment now, these trees have already lost their lives, right? And the potential expansion to the gravel lot, which goes up into the northeast corner where the verbiage is written, right, in that block, right? You guys, when are you planning on potentially taking that into a gravel lot, the timing?
Ask the question again.
You got a parking lot that's gonna be paved, right, which is the gray, right? That's the
Yeah.
87 spots, correct?
Yes.
And then you got potential gravel up in here for yet additional parking, is that correct?
No, no, there's no plan. That was phase, first we proposed that, and then our board didn't agree with that, that is not in the plan.
Okay, so we're not doing this green area
No,
now?
not at all.
Okay, so the point I'm trying to get to is a lot of trees lost their lives up in that area, right? And there are better trees in the back, up on the hilly area that goes to the soccer, which were absolutely beautiful. I can only imagine you guys having been able to tap maple syrup for crying out loud with the kids. What a great environmental class that could have been on the environment, but it's too late now. So we've decimated for the future soccer field and the potential gravel parking lot, and the gravel parking lot's not gonna happen. So it just seems like from a process standpoint here, Liz, we've got the cart ahead of the horse. The trees are already gone at a rate of 82.2%. And I'm glad to see Plymouth Township was welcoming back in 2014, because I think we had a conversation, okay, about how tough it was. You couldn't get into Northville, right?
Yes.
You were denied again and again and again, and great that Plymouth Township was welcoming. And just, we have got to find a better way to do what our residents want, right? Protecting the trees, providing safe parking and traffic for church-going people, which we're very mindful of here. But my gosh, I just feel like we let the community down from what our surveys are asking us to do on protecting greenery on this proposal.
And
And
those
it's
are
not a reflection of the applicant, it's a reflection of our process, and we have to fix it.
And that's the point when we were discussing parts of the master plan. It's recommendations to the Board of Trustees. Part of that is, protecting those trees and the process, because it's just reviewed administratively. So I think that's where, I agree with what you're saying, Bill, but that's something that needs to be addressed at a higher level.
Well, and Dennis, I agree with you, and I think we got to address it quick, right? But my request for the applicant is, this future soccer field, I'd rather see the trees that are back there stay for a lot longer, right? Than just continue the clearing that's gone down, because this is a beautiful track. That before picture of all that greenery that was there was just majestic. It was one of the most majestic areas along 5 Mile, and it's been riddled, if you will, to an 82.2% clip, which is really unfortunate. So I'm not mad at you. I'm not offended. I'm not disappointed in you, right? It was a plan, and the plan doesn't have the money to do everything you wanted to do, but boy, I would have left these trees for a later date.
Okay, anyone else?
I have a question about the second access on the 5 Mile. For what purpose do you need that second access?
The traffic flow when people are leaving from Pilot Drive, there are many instances where it blocks the traffic on 5 Mile all the way to the back road, and in some instances all the way to the Sheldon Road. So we do, because when people are getting out of that, it does back up the traffic. So with the two entrances coming in, we will be able to divide the traffic coming from the Pilot Drive, and so people coming from the east will go from that entrance, and coming from the west, they will use the potentially. They can still use the both, but it will help circulate the traffic much better, and then it gives access to the double door which is at the back, and people will be able to just park there and go out of there from that side, because this building has two very large entrances, one from the back, one from the enter, and the back entrance is not that much used, With this, this will open up that avenue, and it will give us access to more parking lot also directly. Otherwise, if you can see, if we don't have that parking, all these people will be moving through one parking and will create further the bottleneck.
Well, I guess it sounds like it's in part to correct an existing problem with your existing parking lot. And what I understood you were saying is that the additional parking was to serve a different use in the building at the site. So one like for weddings and events, and then one for church services. So wouldn't they, I mean, I can't imagine would there be a time when everyone in the lot is leaving at the same time or entering at the same time?
Yes, the prayer services are at the fixed time, and all people come at this, like Friday prayer. People come, nowadays it is that there are two services because of the capacity. Parking capacity is not there. Now we host at 12:30, and then one at around 2 o'clock. So with that, we are able to manage, but there is a complaint from Webesto. Our people are parking in the Webesto parking lot and double parking. There was an instance last year when there was an emergency situation for a person and the ambulance could not come into the parking lot because of the congestion in the in our facility. There is no street parking because we are not in the residential area. So the only way we can manage the traffic on site is bringing it from two entrances and adding the parking lots.
Okay, so it'll help circulation in the lot?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just to support what you were saying, I've noticed on 5 Mile Road that the truck traffic coming north on Pilot Drive, a lot of these are 53-foot semi-trailers, and a lot of them want to turn west on 5 Mile. Because those trucks are so long, it takes a long time before there's a break in traffic on 5 Mile Road where they can pull out. So I can certainly see how that would create a problem with your congregation being able to access the site, and particularly leaving the site, if you're having that kind of truck traffic. So I understand why you're asking for the 5 Mile Road exit.
I myself, as I said, I'm a civil engineer and at the same time mechanical engineer. I went to Michigan State and worked for Department of Transportation. When I worked with the county this time, they are saying that the design, the design of the 5 Mile coming into Pilot Drive is not designed well. Then there are multiple fatal accidents already happened on 5 Mile Road. And when I drive at nowadays, the morning prayer service is 6:30. I go there. It's dark. I cannot distinguish between a moving traffic coming from the south to north to exit. I just cannot see whether it's moving or it's stopped. So that's entrance of Pilot Drive. When we were building this site, we had the plan to come from 5 Mile, but the easiest way was to get the shared drive and come in there and see how it will work. And what we see is it's not safer for our aging population driving in. And with the heavy trucking traffic, there was multiple situations where truck just broke on Pilot Drive and there was no way to get in and out on Pilot Drive. To answer your question, there were two situations this year. The truck leaving the Pilot Drive to 5 Mile was broke, and it was on that, and now double traffic was going on the one side. Okay. This will relieve us coming from 5 Mile if there is some problem on Pilot Drive.
So do you have, when your services, are letting out and then coming back in, is there a traffic system that you've told the folks on how to get in and out? Do they pass each other sort of in the parking lot as one service ends and the other one begins?
Yes, there is a gap, but we have hired security and traffic management people. They manage it. They have walkie-talkie. We work with Webesto. Webesto is very good. They allow some time. We get approval from them, and then we direct the traffic towards them. Every week we use their traffic, their parking lot. Every week. And we did a traffic survey ourselves. I had 2 people sit many times at the entrance of the pilot drive and entrance of the Ryan Center, and we counted that. And then we engaged a company that Wayne County asked me to do, and they did a professional traffic count. And with that recommendation went to Wayne County that this 5-mile access will help the traffic on 5 mile. And we are adding acceleration lane, deceleration lane, and we are adding a lane, if you will see the latest plan, that will help in the traffic flow from 5 miles.
So your traffic pattern is very similar to Beck Ridge or North Ridge Church, right? Which has outlet on North Territorial, it's got it on Ridge Road, right? Because of the volume of people that go there, and it's great that it's a thriving church, okay? So, you know, the safety call is real, right? I mean, I was on a Sunday and there were trucks coming down there, and so there's a safety issue. This extra parking lot solves it, right? I mean, you're a very good engineer, right? Both mechanically and civil, so I don't doubt anything you said here. Just, you guys had a great concession on not having the prayer calls going out on the PA system, which was good. I just love to see you guys try to make this right because of a future parking lot that didn't happen of gravel and a future soccer field. Boy, it'd be nice to do way better than the 6 inches of DBH that the guidelines say you need to take out. And I know you'll probably take that back to the church parish there and hopefully have that conversation, because we've got to find a way to restore greenery above and beyond what was taken out.
We have a plan. We will add whatever is needed to preserve and add greenery to the site, whatever possible.
Prepared to make a motion if you are ready?
Yeah, I was just going to say, does anyone else have any comments, concerns?
I have one comment before Sandy's motion. This is directed at the planning department. We've addressed the subject of having discussions with developers and landowners before the first drawing is done on a piece of land to try to look at opportunities to save greenery, tree stands. Eventually, from that master plan, hopefully we'll get legislation in front of the Board of Trustees that will make this law, but that's going to be a period of time. So Liz, you and Laura, the first time anybody comes in to talk about a piece of land that's got vegetation like this, get in touch with Dennis. Let's have that discussion before there's any engineering done, before there's a discussion with Eagle, et cetera. Again, no, you guys followed the process, it's good, but we really need to grab this by the horns, and until there's formal legislation, we need you all to be particularly active in directing the homeowners, land developers, to at least have a preliminary discussion on how we can look at the options to save more trees. Okay.
Absolutely agree.
I think it really needs to be, I mean, if it's me or anybody else in the future, it can't be just one person. I think it needs to come to the commission.
I agree 100%, Dennis, that whether there's one discussion or two, right, when the first proposal hit McKenna Hall's desk, this should have come immediately into the next meeting, right? So we could see what they were thinking, because this discussion, if it was just that gray area, it would have been approved probably in 5 minutes, right? And unfortunately, it's all after the fact, but my goodness, it's all the more reason why there has to be teeth in the master plan wording, verbiage, as well as in the Exhibit A that says what we're going to do so the trustees know. And I know Sandy's going to take the message there loud and clear, but my goodness, right? What a unfortunate situation we're sitting in here, right? That's evolved. That they have every right to do what they want to do to make this safer, which I'm before, and to get more utility out of the land, they paid for it, right? But there's a happy medium, and the trees are paying the price, right, for a process that had the cart in front of the horse here.
Yeah, it's a fine line between property rights and individuals' property rights, whether it's commercial, religious, residential, whatever, and what the township would like to see and preserved and that kind of thing. But I think what we try to do is have more sensitivity toward that. We try to do that to some degree at Plymouth Walk. It was, to me, mixed success. I think that could be beefed up in the future.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think, planning and others know what the feeling is of the commission and the residents, because that's where we got it from.
Right, I agree. I would like to make a motion that the planning commission grant tentative site plan approval for application 2587 Ryan Center. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Ryan Center site plan on 5 Mile Road as presented, with a condition that all 6 listed engineering items be addressed and satisfied prior to final stamp or with the listed conditions below.
There's support?
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Groth and supported by Commissioner Pop to grant tentative site plan approval subject to said conditions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean,
Thank you.
roll on your drawing, sorry.
Application 2582, the hidden enclave clustered housing option. And Ms. Hart, your report.
Thank you, Chairman Sabelski. Liz Hart with McKenna. This is for a clustering housing option. You guys did review this in March of this year, just last month. Just to go over it briefly, this is a development proposed to be located on the south side of Powell Road, east of the Powell Road and Napier Road section. The proposal includes 11 detached single-unit residential homes on 3.63 acres to be known as Hidden Enclave. Back in March, back in December of 2025, the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing and then tabled the application for a year. Then in March of 2026, the applicant came back and the Planning Commission gave them some direction and then also postponed making a recommendation to the Board of Trustees for up to 6 months. So we are here now for the next step for the Planning Commission to review their changes and to possibly make a recommendation to the Board of Trustees. So I'm gonna go over the changes that have been made since they last saw you. The applicant's still proposing 11 units, and that's a 3.05 dwelling units per acre. And within this R1S district and the flu map, it does meet the density of between 1 to 3 dwelling units per acre. Going over the purpose and intent of them meeting the cluster housing option. So the cluster housing option allows for more units than normally would be achieved through traditional development. This development through the R1S could have a total of 9 units, and they're proposing the cluster housing option to get up to 11 units. In the previous staff report, staff did note that while the parcel may present some design constraints, we do believe it could still be developed under the R1S district. But however, this parcel could be suitable for a cluster housing development if the Planning Commission does determine that. From the last revision, the plans do show an improved community park. That's Lot B. That has been turned into a pollinator butterfly garden with more of a pedestrian path with a few more benches. And then they also added some extra landscaping along the lot line of Lot 6 and the new community garden butterfly to separate those two lots so it doesn't necessarily look like Lot 6 is just one giant lot. And then they also added a little seating area near Powell Road on the northwest side. It's just a little path that goes into that landscape area with a bench. So we do see that these revisions do provide a more substantial demonstration of meeting the intent of the CHO requirements. And then for architectural character, they've mostly kept the same plans except for Unit 6 now shows a side garage instead of a front garage. So only one unit has changed from front garages to a side garage. That's Unit 6, that's near the community garden area. Circulation and access, this comment was mentioned before, but they just don't identify the number or location of required parking spaces, and just based on looking at it, it looks like they do provide enough parking. Just if they do move forward with a development plan, they'll need to address that. Moving forward, nothing's essentially changed out with the site layout or the parcel configuration. There was a Powell Road setback, so the zoning ordinance requires a 43-foot street setback measured from the Powell Road center line, which they've provided. But then section 22.10.8E requires a 50-foot perimeter setback. However, the planning commission can approve a reduced setback, so they are proposing 38.7 feet and 39.2 feet from the Powell Road setback. And I believe even the rear yards would need to meet this, so what they're proposing for their rear yard setbacks would also be a reduction of that perimeter setback. I think they're proposing let's see, 35 feet is proposed. No changes to natural features. They're proposing, again, to remove 4 trees, none that qualified as heritage trees. So they'll need to replace those with a 1 to 4 inch replacement. Landscape buffer hasn't changed. The community park did change. And during that meeting, you guys did express concern about the community park lacking sufficient features. So you'll want to take a look at that tonight. We do believe that what is being proposed does generally meet the basic principles of the cluster housing option and is designed in a manner that is compatible with the surrounding residential properties and available public infrastructure. So we do recommend that the planning commission forward this to the board of trustees with a recommendation of approval. I will say if there are any revisions to the plan, if you move forward with recommending approval, you are allowed to put conditions on this for the development plan. Nothing too specific, but you can do that. So I just wanted to note that. And that is my overview of the changes that have been done. I'm happy to take any other questions. The fire department and the engineering department did provide updated letters. I believe they're dated April 4th or something like that. So they did provide updated letters, and those are in your packets. And our engineer is here as well, and the applicant is here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And the engineering report?
Good evening, Commissioners. We are recommending approval of the cluster housing. They did address our main concerns regarding the site layout and the private road layout. We are just noting minor comments that can be addressed at site plan, so we have no further concerns for this cluster housing option review. If any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any applicant is here? Yes. Okay, want to come up? But I have a couple questions, Liz, on the report, just clarification. So, let's get the page here, hold on. On page 5, under purpose and intent, the third paragraph, the part that is underlined. So while planning believes that the parcel may present some design constraints, staff believes it could be developed on the R1S district. However, the parcel's configuration may make it suitable for cluster housing. So am I to interpret that it could be developed as its use is designated now, or
Yes.
under the clustered housing?
Yeah, it can be developed under the R1S as now. They have a alternative plan, so they can do just 9 units and it meet code, or the regulations in the R1S district.
The parallel plan, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, yes. It's just the cluster housing option, right? It's supposed to give a benefit to the community, so that's like, we would want to see a benefit with, especially with subdivisions. It's just, does their proposal meet that intent is the question to the planning commission.
So then, that kind of refers back to, that I always call sort of a weasel word. The sentence reads, as the proposed development generally meets the basic principle of cluster housing. So it generally meets it. So it either, to me, it does or it doesn't. Generally, I don't know how can I interpret that word?
Maybe that word should have been updated, because the report last time, it was the community garden or Lot B wasn't giving us much of a benefit to the community. Generally, it does. I think it just really means your standard of, does this meet your commission's interpretation of the intent? Does it meet it? As staff, I do believe it generally meets it. It could move forward. I think they have, I think the community garden has improved. I'm not sure about the pedestrian area along Powell Road as in terms of like right now existing, but I think in the future it'll be a lovely addition to the road. But
Thanks. The floor is yours.
Okay. Actually,
Maybe there are
I would
others.
also like to
Yeah,
clarify
sure.
the planner's report. On that same page at the top, it says, under purpose and intent, it's proposed in an 11-unit development that would typically accommodate approximately 9 units. If you look on the parallel plan, which is page 1 of the deck here, it's toward the back for those of us who have the full blueprints. Okay, I don't see a retention pond on this plot. So if a retention pond is required on single-family housing, which I believe it is, that's going to take up one of these lots. So this is really an 8-lot, not a 9-lot,
you're right, yeah.
okay? So we need to update that on the report, okay? And then my second point is simply that 11 versus 8 is about a 37% increase in density. So this is, we're making a significant allowance here by allowing this to go in with 11 units. And that does suggest that we really need a clear understanding of what the cluster housing benefit is. Okay? All right.
Does somebody else have a comment on the planner's report? Okay, well, now the floor is yours.
All right. I'm Brian Miskiner from Umlor Group. I'm here with Tony Randazzo, the owner of the property, and my colleague Mitch over there. Could you go to the color drawing in the
I'll pull it up, one sec. I don't think that was what Taylor wanted. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll notice the color drawing and how nice this butterfly garden, pollinator garden is. We've got that one, Unit 6, with the side entry garage. And could you go from this to the other? Is that easy for you to do? Yeah, right there. That's good. That's good. If you can circle your cursor over the yeah, right there. And those are two benches, a sidewalk, and those are yeah, there you go. And those are surrounded by hydrangea, nepeta, and fountain grass. And that is a part of our public benefit. And go back to the other one. And this it has a path that goes all the way around, 3 benches, and the landscaping near the property line of 6 is a Norway spruce, a sugar maple, red twig dogwood, juniper, and hydrangeas. So that is really nicely landscaped around there, plus all the, the bee balm and everything else that's in, that's what all the pictures are around in the perimeter, go ahead.
Pardon me, in addition, we put 6 trees around there. If you notice them on their color chart, the little green, you can see those. And I also gave you a kind of a summary of the enhancements that we put on the plan. See that around the butterfly garden, the big spruce trees?
Yeah.
And there's also some benches in there. It's, that's why I gave you the color version of it. You can see them in there. And by the way, they do, you can pass this around. We did this at St. Paul's Church, Grosse Pointe Farms. And it really does attract bees and butterflies. It works if you get the right flowers. That's just the design there is of a cross.
Who would be responsible for maintaining that?
The homeowners association.
Okay.
So it'll be written in the HOA agreement?
Yes. But it's really a beautiful addition. People love it.
I'm a gardener in my spare time. You guys have done a really nice layout with
Thank
this.
you.
These are really high-quality plants. But just to reiterate Sandra's comment, this type of garden requires yearly maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Within 2 years, if this isn't maintained,
It'll
this will be a
overgrow.
mess.
Yeah.
It's just nature, that's the way nature operates. So you need to be really clear in your HOA agreement, call outs to the residents. What is the process to maintain this?
We'll get that set up.
Especially if approval of this is all contingent upon and based upon the fact that this is supposed to be the special community benefit. It's not a benefit if it's not maintained.
Yes, and which raises another issue for me. So it used to be that these HOA agreements were brought to the planning commission, and then they were reviewed by the township attorney. That hasn't happened in some years. I'm not sure why it developed that way, but it did. So in this particular case, if it were finally approved, I would like to see that HOA agreement so we could especially if we base this approval, if we do approve it,
Exactly.
on this garden. I'm a little confused. What's the difference between the other board that you sent us and
Well,
this
that
one?
one exists right now. If you ever in the, by St. Paul's and Grosse Pointe Farms,
Oh.
we actually did one. Just, so I know it works and get a lot of compliments from it.
The only concern it is beautiful, I like it. The only concern I have is boxwood, because there's that boxwood moth that seems to be devastating a lot. So is this particularly more hardy than the typical boxwoods that are being attacked?
Yeah, we're aware of that. You have to keep them sprayed like anything, and this will be maintained by a professional landscaper. And I do know what you mean, and we've been able to combat it, but that's an astute point.
Pass this down. Oh, okay. There you go.
So you would rather do 11 smaller homes than 8 larger ones?
Yeah,
Right.
here's the deal on that. We've been building these larger homes for at least my career, 50 years, and there's just too many of them. And what we don't have, and I would encourage you to consider any remaining land you have, for people of my generation, we don't want stairs. So we prefer to build something that is a lot more in demand and desperately needed. First floor masters, ranches.
With basement, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, and a garage, a 2-car.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A 2-car garage. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you think these are a little bit easier sell than bigger homes?
I think there's a really high demand for them. And there's a premium associated with it because there's just none around.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything that's been built for the past 50 years has been for people with larger families, which doesn't exist. So first baby boomer is 80 years old this year. And I'm not far behind, and I don't want, last time I was here, I was in a walker and a wheelchair. It's just a fact. That's what we need today.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'd highly encourage you to consider that for the future. There's just a big need.
Okay.
Was the question answered about the parallel plan and the detention pond?
Yes, she confirmed it should be 8 instead of 9.
Oh, okay.
Parallel plan.
I probably was reading something and I didn't catch it. Okay,
And she'll correct that in the
okay.
write-up.
So there,
I am still not totally clear, and I'm not sure that anyone can make it clear. It appears to me that the cluster housing option is being utilized to allow more units in a limited space versus less units. And I'm not totally clear that we need to do that.
Cluster housing almost always is to get a couple more units.
Right.
You make them smaller in the cluster.
Right, I understand that.
Like, if we were to do the typical subdivision, there'd be no public benefit.
Right,
You
that
don't
I
have- You don't
understand.
have room for any of that.
I understand the only reason we're looking at a public benefit is because of the request to do cluster housing.
Right.
I get that.
Excuse me, am I allowed to ask applicant a question?
no, not at
Yes,
this point.
you
but-
will be.
Can I answer, please?
It's like that.
Okay, thank you. There will be an opportunity, it's not, not required, but we always offer it to people that do show up. So as soon as we're done with our discussion, I'll recognize you and you can come up with your comment. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment.
Pardon?
I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
So my understanding of the ordinance is that CHO should only be used where the parcel has unique constraints, natural features, or roadway conditions that make conventional development difficult. Is that true here?
3.6 acres is a small lot. And the cluster housing allows us to get enough units to make it worthwhile.
Financially.
Yeah, to me, this sounds like this is financially driven and does not follow the intent of the ordinance.
Well, we get to put the smaller lots, and you get the first floor masters. And that's what I meant.
You can't have first floor masters with larger lots? I mean, that seems counterintuitive to me.
Well, the larger lots would be indicative, we'd make them larger, and we would move out of this market.
They would build colonials.
Yeah.
They just would. And I'm not the
And that's a
builder.
choice. That's
but
a developer
I mean, and that's okay. I mean, it's not where the demand is, and I'm not suggesting anyone should agree with that. But you got plenty of big houses. But they could be done. They sell for more money. Actually, you'd probably make more because you'd sell them for more. But I don't think that's where the market is. And at this point in my life, I like to design for what's needed rather than what's necessarily profitable. I mean, Plymouth's a high demand area. You'd get the money, but it's just not where we should be at.
I just struggle with approving a CHO in this case.
I do know that others have been approved. I'm not suggesting that that's indicative of what this should be, but there have been others that have been done.
Here in Plymouth Township
yeah.
or in other areas?
No, in Plymouth Township.
Well,
I'm new to the commission, so I haven't approved one yet.
We do have some new members, myself included, we do have newer members on the commission who might not necessarily agree with what has been done in the past, and that's
I'm
why we're raising the issues now.
very respectful of that.
Okay, thank you.
So I guess one last question. How does approving a CHO here produce a better result than a traditional development that's permitted under the ordinance?
Great question. I don't know if it's better. I mean, it's definitely what is needed. And if we're doing it for the benefit of the community at large, people that have lived here their whole lives and they want to stay here, they have church, family, whatever. People generally don't like to move out of an area unless they have to. This is an alternative for them to stay in the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That goes back to the same argument that we had the last time, smaller homes perhaps for the folks that are downsizing, but we have found from talking to realtors and others that people like to stay in their homes as long as they can. So the question is, what market are we trying to appeal to, and also the mix of the type of housing that we have? So that's really kind of the basic thing, which goes back to the planner's report that said, it still could be developed under the traditional way. So it's what you opt for.
Chairman, you mentioned smaller homes, and I think we asked that question, what is the size of these homes? And size is relative, so I remember the size they mentioned was larger than the home I live in, so to me, that wouldn't be a downsize. So again, downsizing is a relative term.
It is. It depends on where you're coming from.
Right, exactly.
Dennis, we had a development, I think, similar to this on Ann Arbor Trail, right? Just as you're starting to go down the hill, right, opposite Beacon Hill on the south side, right? There's a rectangular lot, and there are a lot of units jammed in there, right? It's right beside the gated community. It's just a little bit further east. You got Beacon Trail, gated community where Lorenz lives, and then you got that new one that's probably 3-4 years old, maybe.
Right. The reserves.
It's the one street,
Yeah.
The reserves.
Was that a cluster housing?
Oh, yeah.
What was the key innovation in there that was the benefit for the community? Was there one?
This is the one in Ann Arbor Trail?
Yes.
South side of Ann Arbor Trail?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That was before I was on the commission, but if I recall correctly, there's quite a large natural area at the far back.
With the creek.
Yeah, that was preserved by
That
this
was
approach.
preserved.
Yeah.
You
Which
don't
the
see it when
question-
you don't drive down the road, you don't know
Right.
that it's back there.
And the question is, could they have ever developed that? They show the parallel plan, but
Yeah, and maybe they could have, but where I was gonna go is there any parking spots so someone who doesn't live there could have the benefit of coming in there to sit back by those trees, right?
well, that's the other that's the question that I had raised earlier, you know, a community benefit.
Yes.
And is community, what is the community? Is it the folks that just live there, or is it the greater Plymouth Township community?
It's both, actually, right, because they both fall in the umbrella of community, that sub plus others. As I look at this, right, this is a better execution than a gazebo with a park bench with a
Yeah.
sidewalk,
It
which
is an
was,
improvement.
I don't know, maybe a D- effort at best on a good day, okay? But, I mean, Dennis's own words, I think, were bring back and knock our socks off innovation. This was your opportunity to take the ball, run with it, slam dunk it, right? No one's standing in the way, and this is better, okay? But I'm looking for that innovation, right? And it's better, but it might not be innovative enough, number one. Number two, the fact that there's no parking in there, Rich, which we talked about in front of the retention pond, to where maybe Tim might want to go walk on the grounds there in the butterfly park or sit on the bench, right? Or I can't do that because there's so little parking there, and usually you have a fire lane on one side and the only cars can go on the opposite. I see the same trouble with people coming for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, birthday parties, Michigan State football parties, whatever it is. This place is going to be jammed with 11 units in there. And to Ashley's point, that was great research, the definition there. This is just a rectangular area. There's nothing unique about this land. So, yeah, my socks are still on. They didn't get knocked off, unfortunately, with what I see, but it's better. I'll give you guys credit, right? And I do like the better of the honesty of answering the question. Maybe this is what Plymouth Township needs, right? And to Dennis's point, I don't know there's gonna be a rush of people downsizing. I do think you'd have a rush of people trying to move into Plymouth Township that are downsizing from Northville, which is what I did to come back, right? Because this is just an incredible community. So, as much as I love these houses and what you guys are doing, right? There's not still enough here. It's not innovative enough for the community.
I do see people, you know, because I've personally witnessed this flower garden, butterfly garden in St. Paul's. I see people sitting on those benches all the time, and they walk there. They don't drive because, you know, everyone is a lot more physically conscious these days. And I see them all the time. And I can't obviously empirically tell you this, but just witnessing it for 2 years, because my grandkids go to school there, and I just see them sitting on the benches looking at the flowers. They like it. It does attract people. Is anything going to be perfect from this point on? I doubt it. But it's an opportunity to create something that does not exist, that's, you know, a higher level product for needed. I mean, people that are going to be in these homes, this is not it's really not attracting a family situation. It's attracting kind of a more empty nester. That's what it is. Is there a need for it? You know, obviously, we wouldn't have presented it if we didn't think so. The enhancements, it's going to be incredibly vegetated, and if you have an opportunity, you're on the east side, I would encourage you to go look at that butterfly park. It's beautiful.
And Liz, I've asked a question. I have a frog and I can't get rid of it. So let's say this was all approved, the people all moved in, and they decide at some point in time that they're tired paying HOA fees to maintain this garden. And they all took a vote, they could just not do it anymore?
I mean, they could, I'm not 100% sure on that, but because it would be a part of the site plan, if they decided just to remove it, then that would be a site plan amendment, and I'm sure it's different in the cluster housing of how that needs to be amended and approved, and if they could even do it. Because
there is a cluster housing where we had a community benefit and then the folks didn't want it. So what we had proposed never came to reality. So I have a concern about that as well.
Happy to look into that, Dennis.
Okay. I can give you the reference to it.
You could write it into the master deed.
Pardon? Write it into master deed. You know, I'd have to research it, that's the thing. The issue is, you know, some people would like to sit there. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. There was a favorite spot of mine at U of M's campus that was a perennial that I always enjoyed. But as opposed to the church garden where that's more of a public setting, people are encouraged to do that, and it's available to them. This sits at the back. A lot of people going down the road aren't even going to know that's there. So it's really for the benefit of those people. And again, raises to the question, what's the community benefit? Is it local or is it community-wide?
I have a couple more comments. First of all, we did a survey for the master plan, and by far the biggest preference of people that responded to the survey was single-family homes on larger lots. That is kind of the trademark of Plymouth Township. We've got a lot of those. I wish we had land to develop a lot more of them, because my view is there would be demand for those, even at the cost, what they cost today. But we do have these smaller pieces of land, and we need to look at those, and we do know that there is an interest in first floor masters. Our township supervisors made that very clear. We didn't see that in the survey. So it's a subset of the bigger amount. So I don't think we should just set this aside. Maybe it's an opportunity to meet that need for the people that are looking for the single family or single floor, smaller homes. But I do want to reiterate that the primary demand in Plymouth Township is for traditional single family homes on larger lots. That may not be consistent with what you're seeing across the metro, but it's very much the case in Plymouth Township. Now, in that context, on the parallel plan, you have lots that are 100 feet wide, which is consistent with the homes in far western Plymouth Township. But because of the shape of the land, you're only able to make them 120 feet deep, which is 12,000 square feet. I believe, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe homes in that part of Plymouth Township are more like 20,000 square feet. They're more like 200 feet depth. So because you only have 120 feet, that's going to constrict your floor plan, your square footage somewhat. So this is, from the perspective of the Planning Commission, this is a piece of property that is a little bit challenging to develop any traditional single-family type approach, because given the amount of land that's available, you can only make the lots about 120 feet deep versus 200. So that would argue in favor of looking at a cluster housing option. So in the end on this, my take is, I would prefer if this was traditional single-family housing, because I think that's the primary need in Plymouth Township. But I'm not sure this piece of land really allows us to deliver what we're thinking of. So I see the two cluster housing benefits I see are first, obviously, the butterfly garden, which is really very well laid out, as long as we're sure that it will be maintained after the developer's finished and all the homes are sold. The second benefit is it does allow us to address, at least on this piece of land, the perceived need of people looking to downsize and go into smaller, single floor lots. So in my case, if I put all those together, I still come out slightly on the side of saying that I think this barely meets the criteria for a cluster housing option. That's just how I see it.
So how deluxe, let's say this is approved with 11. So you got 8, like 2,300, 2,400 square feet, and then 3 little smaller, right?
They'd be similar square footage because there would be up top. There would be a second story.
Oh, so 3 of them are 2-story
Yeah.
and 8 are, okay, 8, so yes, right. Yeah. Okay, got it. 1,300 times 2.
And with those
roughly.
stories
Okay.
and a half, you'd still have the master bath,
Yeah.
the main
Yeah.
level.
Okay.
Your plans don't show, the floor plans really don't show basement access. Are you, you are planning to put
Oh, of
basements in there?
course, yeah. I've
okay.
never, I don't know how you'd ever do that in Michigan.
Yeah, I don't either, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to clarify.
They just did it in Northville. By
Is that
the
right?
Northville Downs, yeah, very few have basements.
Not me. I'm not for that.
Well, we built Township Hall without a basement, and now we're wondering why, so.
Would this be a good time to ask for input from the,
Well, we'll see if anyone else
Anybody
is
else?
there. Is there any other comments, or I can ask for public?
So I have a question, more of a process. So this is the preliminary and then.
It's a recommendation, what we're considering is a recommendation to the Board of Trustees to grant, because they'll grant the cluster housing option. And then they come back to us with site plans, we move forward, and there's various steps, and goes back to the Board of Trustees. This is the very first step.
Got it.
Stuart, it's this chart on page 3 of the planner's report.
Yep, okay. That's what I thought. That's why no one's coming with siding,
Yeah.
samples
No,
or brick
right.
samples. Yeah, okay.
I mean, they can give us rough ideas.
Yeah.
But they haven't gotten to that point.
So the 2,350, do you have any idea what they would list for, what they would sell for?
Well, I'm thinking about that project that, I can't think, I know the guy's first name, his name was Paul. They did a project on Ann Arbor Road, but we'd have to look at the market
Yeah.
and get the current market value. They'll be well done, very well done.
I mean, you're not gonna make them as cheap as possible.
No.
They'll be nice,
No way.
trimmed out and brick.
Of course. They're gonna sell more per square foot than any other traditional homes you have.
So like 600-700 something.
I think a little more than that.
Oh, more than that.
It depends on the finishes that people
Yeah.
will want.
Probably in the eights.
Okay, so this is gonna be even though they're all mostly one-story, pretty deluxe.
Well, they get a very high premium because nothing exists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we will pay special attention to the point that is well noted regarding the maintenance of it in the HOA documents.
Any other comment?
Actually, there was one more I wanted to
Okay.
make. This is not a heavily treed lot, but there is trees along the side and particularly along the back. You could argue that under a traditional single-family development, we might have lost more trees. So the developer really is only removing 4 major trees on this, and there is quite a bit of tree along the very bottom of the land. So that's, again, not fully to the extent that we'd like to see in a cluster housing option, but it is a partial consideration.
Would you be, on that tree line, would you be excavating near there to put in any of the infrastructure?
We moved the storm sewer in the back to get it to where we're only cutting down 4 trees. And I would say that those trees have to come out because they're right on top of the building, pretty close to the building. That 4 is, they have to come out.
So you're not going to be excavating near the remaining trees?
No.
We designed around it pursuant to your suggestion last time.
All right, I'll ask the member of the public, you, sir, if you would come up and just give us your name. You have to sign in and give us your comment.
Okay, looks familiar.
Thanks for waiting so patiently.
Thank you. First, I'll just start with an aside that I'm also a fan of basements. I addressed this commission back in December during the public hearing, and at the time, I had mentioned that I live directly southeast of this property, and even their proposal said, well, the natural flow of rainwater is to the southeast. And I live at the bottom of this tall berm. And I said, well, according to what their plan was, I could be a stone's throw away from their retention pond. And my concern was during a heavy rain, if it overflowed the retention pond, the water would come barreling down the berm into my house. And now I'm saying that the proposal said there were going to be some pumps. And I expressed at the time concern that, well, if there was a storm strong enough to overflow the retention pond, it probably knocked out the electric power and therefore the pumps wouldn't work. So I was wondering if the revised proposal has addressed that issue in any way?
Okay, we'll ask that question. It's a good one. I do remember your comment from that time about that.
You were here last time, yeah.
Yeah, I regret missing last month's meeting on the subject, but,
Yeah, I'll do it. Just a moment.
Yeah,
okay.
we'll catch him on that.
Okay, and my other question, I think to the applicant as well, is I know you must have done a survey so that you've known where the property line is between your property and the condo association's property. And I was just wondering if there's some way I could get like a copy of it, or so that I know where the property line actually is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think, Liz, do you have that survey? Yeah, you can check with the planning department. They should have a copy of that survey, all the other documentation that's been presented to us. So you could go upstairs and see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you. So then.
And you might even, if it's in the packet, which I think it is, you can even look at it online. You might have to blow it up because, it's hard to read it on the computer screen. But
Right.
sometimes it's easier to see it blown up on a computer screen than on a piece of paper. It's your choice.
Okay, I'll check into that.
Okay.
So then if you,
And I'll also give you a call, you can call me if you have anything while we're doing the project. I'll give you my card with my cell number.
okay, I'd appreciate that, yes. All right, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Bill, did you have a
Yeah,
comment?
I did. I wanted to catch your name.
Bob Udebrock.
All right, Bob. Good. Yeah, so they did add that pump at the site plan. Last meeting we reviewed it. And you jogged my memory on a good question to ask. I didn't know if it's running electricity from DTE or if it's got solar backup, right? Just power from DTE. Okay.
We haven't gotten that far. We do have a generator,
And what will power the generator?
natural gas.
Good,
Good.
okay.
Great answer.
Yes. That was the answer I was hoping for.
Right answer.
Yeah, right.
Sir,
right.
also on their site plan, it actually shows the 3 condos in your development that are closest to the site plan. So you can probably look at it and pick out exactly which one is your house and where it relates to the site plan. So I would definitely go see the building department. I think you'll be able to see exactly where your house is relative to the development.
Okay,
Yeah, come on in or look on a computer, whatever's easiest for you.
okay, great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just had one question because we haven't talked about it. Will there be a sidewalk in front of this entire development?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a sidewalk there now?
No.
Okay.
Sandy, if I may, this whole area, the south side of Powell, this will be the only sidewalk section for quite a bit.
That's why I asked. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I was going to go over the drainage, but is that good enough? Why don't you go to the site plan and go up, right, go up. Right there. If you zoom in the corner, no, to the detention pond. Right there, proposed backup generator.
Yep. Right.
Excellent.
And so the responsibility of maintaining it falls to the HOA. Okay, well, where do we stand on this?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
Unless we either recommend approval, denial, or table it again, or postpone it again.
Based on the analysis provided in this report, as well as the additional discussion today, I recommend that we approve the Hidden Enclave cluster housing option to the Board of Trustees as the development as proposed meets the basic principles of cluster housing option, again, incorporating our discussion today, and is designed in a manner that is compatible with surrounding residential properties and available public infrastructure.
Is there support?
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Pop to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees for application 2582. And I think you should take a roll call vote.
Yes. Dennis Sobolski.
No.
Tim Boyd.
Yes.
Stuart Pop, yes. Sandy Groth.
No.
Dan Callahan.
No.
And Bill Aikes.
No.
Pardon?
No.
No. Ashley Kruger.
No.
All right. So fails.
Okay.
5-2.
So do we need another motion and
Yes.
recommending that we not approve it?
Right.
Correct. Okay, somebody want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. On PC 2582, I'd like to make a motion to not approve the cluster housing option as presented.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Ikes and supported by Commissioner Kruger to recommend denial to the Board of Trustees for the cluster housing application 2582. You want to take another roll call?
Okay, Dennis Sobolski.
Yes.
Tim Boyd.
No.
Stuart Pop, no. Sandy Groth.
Yes.
Dan Callahan.
Yes.
Bill Aikes.
Yes.
Ashley Kruger.
Yes.
Okay.
6-2.
5-2.
5-2, I'm sorry, 5-2. All right. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the master plan. You wanna lead off with this discussion, Liz?
So this is for, you guys are making a recommendation to the Board of Trustees to distribute the draft master plan for the 63-day public comment period. This is the most recent draft minus Tim's corrections from earlier this week. Those will be added to after this meeting when you guys make the or if you do make the recommendation.
For the purpose of the board, it was just 2 percentages on one page.
Yeah.
Nothing major.
Nothing major, yes. But everything highlighted in yellow is what's been changed, I believe, since the last time we spoke about this. So I don't have anything else to add. I'm happy to answer the questions best that I can.
It says, with the exception of Tim's edit, it remains the same.
A few questions.
Sure.
On page 1, I mentioned this is the vision statement. I mentioned this at the last meeting. I do not like the use of the word infill. More recently, smaller infill subdivisions. People don't, in general, have a clue what infill subdivisions are. So is there a better way to put that?
What page is that, Sandy?
It's page 7, actually.
That was my word, yeah.
And I
mean,
remember I questioned that.
Yeah, you just have to spell it out. Small subs on small lots or something like that.
Small lot
Smaller,
subdivisions.
well,
Smaller subdivisions.
smaller
Smaller
developments,
development,
smaller
yeah.
developments, maybe.
Okay.
And
Just
then,
something like that.
on page 9, we're talking about reimagining Ann Arbor Road as a community corridor. And again, there's that move towards putting residential in an Ann Arbor Road corridor. And I don't know that we specifically said, yes, we wanted to do that. So I'm not really comfortable with that language because I don't think that anything that we've gotten from residents is indicative of their desire to make the Ann Arbor Road corridor area a residential area or to provide any more mix than what already exists.
We did discuss that in a lot of detail. I just can't
We
remember,
did.
Sandy, if you were part of the board.
We were talking,
point.
I think, well, either you weren't a part of this board or you were on the Board of Trustees.
Right.
We did talk about potential places, so it'd be interesting
did.
to hear your thoughts wherever you were at that time.
Right.
Right near your area would be, let's say where Vic Tanny's, or, used to be, and maybe those office buildings. The other area we talked about would be on Sheldon Road, not on Ann Arbor Road, but a similar feel to it. On Sheldon, just south of Ann Arbor Road. I mean, I know we had a discussion, maybe we should revisit that. What do you think?
I think in general, Ann Arbor Road corridor has been known as an area where we do have auto service type things. I know we have too many curb cuts and that type of thing, but it's an area for people to go to get the services that they need here in Plymouth Township. I'm not comfortable with the mix of residential and that in the same corridor area. And I kind of spelled that out earlier when we voted on the senior housing. So I'm just bringing it up because, I mean, you could perhaps publish this and you could see what the residents have to say, because if it really concerns them, they have that opportunity at that time to address it and say, we don't want this. I just want to bring it up because it is something that I'm not comfortable with. And I'm not sure that it's the way we want to move forward, because I'm not sure that's the way our residents want to see us move forward.
Again, in this context, I think we were talking about townhomes, the very current popular townhome configuration that is seen in a lot of busy streets. I kind of would like to see it stay in just because it would give us an opportunity to see what the public thinks, Sandy.
Then we should
And I'm fine with
say
that.
it that way, right? Because neighborhood sounds like it's a subdivision. There's not a room with a subdivision in there. You're gonna be squeezing whatever you can get. And we did have the discussion, Dennis, to your point, I think it was in December, right? When we actually talked about the townhomes that were there, didn't really fit. But boy, if we could do something, and Laura put a couple places up on the screen there by the old Wendy's, I think was one of them, to try to squeeze a couple things in, right? And it was townhome. We had a good discussion.
The Wendy thing wasn't probably the best example to use, but I think a better example would be, again, on Sheldon, even though it's because there were homes there that have transitioned into office, commercial.
Right.
And maybe we talked initially about if we could get that old fitness center and Burger King and the animal place. We thought also the office, but we understand that he's putting money into it, renovating it. They're viable, so that probably in the future would not come forward. But we can leave it in. It's not meaning we're going to do it.
Right, and I'm okay with you leaving it in because we are going to go out to the public with this, and that gives them an opportunity, if they do not like it,
Then we know.
to speak up. So I'm
Right.
okay with leaving it in. I just wanted to make the point.
Okay, got it.
That OS ARC thing right here at the Burger King, the veterinarian, and the Vic Tanny, right? We had a lengthy discussion on, boy, it'd be nice to put some kind of housing in there because it's so easy to get on the freeway, A, and to get to the airport, B, if you're traveling, if you're a young professional, or walking across the street to Henry Ford, if you're a nurse or a doctor, right? It's a great place, and it would black out that red, huge Henry Ford sign that all the neighbors stood at the podium and said they don't like seeing it. So,
And again, Bill, you don't live in this area.
True.
So as I speak about it also as a resident
Yeah.
who has to deal with these particular issues.
But I have a question on that Henry Ford sign, because I don't come down this way so much in darkness, but I did the other day have an opportunity to look at it. I purposely looked at that sign.
And what did you think?
Well, I hate to say it.
No, say it.
But I don't think it was that bright, but I could understand why the residents would be concerned. So did they ever lower the lumens on that sign, or?
I don't know.
It didn't seem bright, but I'm gonna make a point to go there maybe tonight.
And like
look
you
at it.
learn from listening to me, some
Right.
people aren't happy if they don't have something to complain
Right.
about. So let's leave it in and let's see how the residents feel about
Right,
it.
and also, the positive point about townhomes or whatever potentially could be there would be, it would provide more of a buffer to the neighborhood
Yes,
behind it.
yes,
And we don't have to worry
And it
about
beats
something
car
more
washes.
intrusive, right?
yes, absolutely.
I mean, like, for example, if Plastipac ever moved, I mean, why would we keep that industrial? I
Well,
mean,
that area.
I mean, that's just an example.
Yeah, and that area, those folks that live there,
Yeah.
they're kind of an outlier, because that probably should have never been residential.
Right.
They're like a peninsula, basically, when you think about what they're surrounded by.
They are.
We heard from those folks when Heinz Park was putting the parking storage place there, and I never thought of it that way till I heard those comments.
That's true.
Is there support for modifying this from neighborhood scale residential to something more like townhomes? Because
Supporting,
neighborhood scale, like you mentioned, it's just.
or
sounds
just leave
like
it residential. What
Yeah,
about just
residential.
just have it open? Because who knows what creative things someone might bring up, and we
Like
all might
senior
think,
or,
wow,
uh,
that's
It
kind
could
of
be
living.
senior, yeah,
It
whatever.
could
In
be
an office
senior, yeah.
building.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And and that is also in the next line, it talks about, again, promoting neighborhood scale businesses, local residents, so it's just, I don't know, that might be okay.
I think neighborhood scale businesses are, I mean, that's sort of Plymouth Township's main commercial street.
It is, that's,
I mean, what else is there? There's 5 Mile, I mean, there just isn't a lot more,
right,
you know?
okay. A lot of work has gone into this by a lot of people, and I think it's excellent. And it's great to put it out there so that we can get input from,
Different perspectives. Okay, well, if we're okay with it, is there a motion to make the recommendation to the Board of Trustees?
Before we do that, Dennis, I just wanted to thank Ashley for commenting on the piece that I wrote up, right, for potentially the modification on paragraph 3 on page 32, right, on the metrics of success on trees, right? There is a little yellow blurb that's in there. It's nowhere near what I wrote, but it was changed, right? And I'll defer to the planning experts with the verbiage they used, right? That it's different, it's better. But it really just brings me right back to what was on page 89 when we get into it in 90 and 91 with the exhibit A's, the priority ones. We've got to get teeth in the words in this so the Board of Trustees, besides Sandy, grasp the fact that our trees have just never gotten the priority they need with all these bullet points that are in there. I'm hoping this turns into fines that are excessive to much higher than 1 for 4 inch because it's a non-heritage trees. I'd like to see it, inch for inch on heritage. I'd like to see heritage 4 to 1. So people truly value them and realize that, you're gonna take them out, put you one up, but you better be putting more back in. That's what I think our residents are asking for, and I'd love to see that verbiage on environmental sustainability on the A projects. It's not in there, it's still generic, and if this is the blueprint and the spec, this is our chance to put teeth into it.
but you can also put teeth in the processes and procedures followed by our planning department, as you discussed earlier, to make sure that we don't have the issues that we recently, so it can be twofold.
It's really, Bill, your recommendations are really well thought out, and they're full of detail. They're classic Ford metrics, right, for performance reviews.
Yep.
To be honest.
Yeah.
But I think the task here in the master plan is to speak in more generalities, but then the planning commission, once this thing gets approved, if it does, we've got to go back to the board and make proposals on how they can actually change the legal wording in our.
I agree, to put the teeth
To
into
put the
it, to
teeth
make
in,
sure
yeah.
it's done right.
So this is just like the very first step. The real work is going to be, okay, once we get this approved, then going back to the board on many of these recommendations, not just the trees.
Again, it's just a guide. To put the teeth in, you have to go to the legislative body.
Okay, all right.
Any other
Yeah.
comments?
I am happy with the way it reads now with the corrections we've made.
Yeah, good.
I make a motion that the Plymouth Township Planning Commission forwards the master plan 2026 update to the Board of Trustees for the beginning of the 63-day public comment period.
A recommendation for.
Recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Groth to forward the master plan, forward the master plan to the Board of Trustees, recommending approval. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Yay! Now we have the monthly planning report. Any questions on that?
Just that I want to say, I do appreciate this report. I think it's very comprehensive, and it provides a good constant follow-up to walk the whole path of every development, and I appreciate it, the way it's done.
Second.
Yep. And now commissioner comments. Anybody has a comment to make?
I
Okay,
want to tell you all what a pleasure it is to work with you.
thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying your stay.
I am.
All right.
Liz, do we know, I've been kind of out of commission the last couple of weeks, but the Olivewood development on Ann Arbor Road, northwest corner of McClumpha, have we made any progress in getting that building permit signed?
No, on Ann Arbor and McClumpha.
Yes.
You said, yeah. He wanted a meeting with you and Dennis, and we just haven't been able to make that happen. And I don't know if we will in time for I think you only postpone it for 6 months, and that's May. So I don't know, it will.
So we won't give you our availability until we hear from you?
If you want to, I think we were waiting to see if Tim was going to feel better or pick somebody else to join in the
Hopefully
meeting.
I will be available again next week.
Yeah, so
crossed.
if you guys want it, we can try and set it up for next week. I know he's trying to make time to just come when you guys are
Oh,
available.
okay, I'll
so.
send you my availability.
Okay.
So what you're sort of saying here is he's not going to do anything until we have that meeting?
That was our recommendation. He did say he could do a study session, but we just felt
No, I'm
that-
just talking about fixing the sign.
Oh, the sign, yeah, is, that, our code enforcement went out and he reached out to them, so it should be getting fixed, if not already.
Yes, I had one suggestion that came from a resident to try to cascade information better to the residents, right? I know Chuck has a meeting with the HOA presidents, right? It'd be nice to get this master plan, okay, to these HOA presidents so they could cascade it to the residents that are in these HOAs. That might not get 100%, but maybe you pick up 66 2/3, right? Because we want to get their feedback, right? And you can't rely on email, you can't rely on the website, you can't rely on word of mouth, but my goodness, the HOA presidents, I think, are probably the best option we may have.
Yes, and in fact, when we did the survey, I sent the link and all that to our HOA president, and I actually put it, our subdivision as a Facebook site, and put it on there, and I recognized some of the people that commented, thanks and all that, and I knew where they were, so it was beyond just my adjoining neighbors, it was other areas of the subdivision.
We actually did the same thing, but if I recall right, there's almost 50 subdivision represented in that group. And Sheila has that updated list. She could just forward that under Chuck's name. And I would actually request that she do that. That's an excellent suggestion.
And it will also be on the website, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that people can go in and look at it and provide their input?
And again, the web link should be on the next e-newsletter. I think one just came out a few days ago, and that should be put out there. Even a special one, sometimes you see the special ones about no trash pickup or whatever it is.
And I'm going to request again, because I just went to a conference of Western Wayne meeting, and I looked again at what all of the representatives are saying regarding the state's proposed House bill. So I'm going to recommend that perhaps we could do both at the same time, and that gives the residents an opportunity to have a better understanding of what's going on.
That's right, and somebody did post on Facebook that that was there, and I think they were starting a petition or something.
Good.
So that word needs to get out.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think there was an article about it in the Detroit News.
It was a couple
There
days
was.
ago, yeah.
There was.
That's a good suggestion.
But so many people do not know any of this, and then when you tell them, they immediately are aghast and say, you know, what can I do about that? So we need to make
And
sure
have
that they
to do
know.
it. Like I said, they have to get to their representatives
That's right.
and push on it, because it's a big lobby that's out there.
It is a huge lobby.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? All right, is there a motion to adjourn at 9:10?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 9:10.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Ikeson, supported by Commissioner Pop to adjourn at 9:10. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Adjourned.